The zombies had been staying in the mine for a long time, their bodies covered in calcium hardening. These hardened shells acted like armor, protecting them. Unfortunately, the people they encountered were Rick and Michonne. Rick's 2 punches cracked the hardened shell, and Michonne struck at the right moment, piercing the zombie's brain with a blow, saving 3 passers-by in the process. Michonne wanted to give them 2 packs of instant noodles, but the greedy people raised their guns. Their luck was as bad as the zombies. Rick and Michonne gave them a chance to reconsider. If they were willing to put the guns away, everything could be as if it never happened. But greed only leads to further mistakes. Rick and Michonne had to take a tough stance, snatching the guns away. The 3 passers-by now regretted their actions, but it was too late. However, the 2 protagonists didn't completely cut ties. Along with retrieving the instant noodles, they left them a gun. But for safety, the gun and bullets were tossed in the opposite direction. Rick and Michonne didn't trust that they wouldn't cause trouble again. However, what greeted them when they woke up in the morning was still the dark muzzle of a gun, along with Jadis's greetings. A plane crash and the disappearance of Rick and Michonne happened simultaneously. Others might not have suspected, but Jadis knew them too well. The instant noodle bags found along the way confirmed her suspicions, so she followed the shortest route back home. She refrained from shooting them while they slept, which was Jadis's first mistake. Her second mistake was not bringing her people along. Of course, she did this to keep her past hidden from others. Jadis, now a figure of power within the military, would never allow anyone to undermine what she had. She firmly believed that once Rick and Michonne were allowed to leave, they would return with others to destroy everything she had built. Jadis was cautious enough, but she underestimated Rick and Michonne. By the way, if you enjoy our movie recaps, we're currently hosting a giveaway for our audience. We're excited to announce that a brand new scooter awaits one lucky subscriber. Don't miss out. Subscribe and follow us to stay tuned for more updates. Injured, Jadis drove frantically, but Rick and Michonne quickly caught up in their yellow car. The 3 of them, along with 2 cars, entered the range of zombie activity. Despite Jadis's constant interference and collisions, a car accident forced them to proceed on foot. Coincidentally, they encountered the 3 passers-by who were angry over the instant noodles. Jadis used food and promises to turn them into her allies. Rick and Michonne, who chased after them, found themselves surrounded 4-2. However, how could 3 weaklings, plus 1 injured person, possibly harm the 2 protagonists? After just 1 round of fighting, the 3 passers-by fell, succumbing to a close encounter with the zombies. Jadis remained resilient. She knew her importance and understood that Rick wouldn't let her die. Once the file she left behind fell into the hands of the CRM organization, everything Rick and Michonne cherished would be destroyed. Jadis placed herself on the table of fate, a gamble even Michonne dared not make. She had to protect her under the threat of the zombies. Using this opportunity, Jadis continued to stress to Rick that leaving would only bring disaster to their homeland, while returning could lead to further understanding of the CRM organization. The current standoff wasn't about personal grudges, but a confrontation between 2 communities. Jadis chose the CRM. She would do everything in her power to protect her new home. At this moment, an agreement was reached between the 2 sides. Rick would go back with Jadis, but Michonne had to be allowed to leave. Both Michonne and Rick first laid down their weapons to show their sincerity, and Jadis followed suit. However, both sides knew that the real battle of wits was yet to come. As Jadis pulled out a second gun, Michonne aimed her weapon at her. Suddenly, as the zombies surged forth, Jadis became the ultimate loser in this struggle. Her inability to truly let go of the past was her biggest failure. Over the years, Jadis would meet the priest almost every year. He had thought of eliminating each other to completely bid farewell to the past, but he never really went through with it. The same goes for Rick and Michonne. She had many chances to act against them, but her fear of failure held her back. That's why she kept the information about Alexandria to protect what she had. Jadis disclosed the whereabouts of the data, hoping that after destroying it, Rick and Michonne would return home and live their lives without antagonizing the CRM. However, Michonne firmly rejected the idea. Her friend died because of the CRM organization, and she was determined to stop this mistake from continuing. The CRM organization and its army were not the answer to everything. Jadis could only express regret. She had once hoped to die as an artist, but now it seemed like a mere fantasy. She took out the ring she had received from the priest. If it hadn't been for the bridge explosion incident years ago, Rick should have given it to Michonne long ago. Now, with Jadis's help, it had returned to its rightful owner. As a gunshot echoed, Jadis bid farewell to the world as a human. Before returning to the military, Rick finally fulfilled his long-held wish. This long-delayed proposal alleviated many regrets and frustrations, but the priest had run out of time to wait for the one he had been waiting for. With hand grenades strung together, the plan was to bomb the CRM. Rick and Michonne were truly going all out this time, determined to stop at nothing until they pierced the sky. The hand grenades were scattered and fixed around the explosives. A massive fireworks show was about to begin. With two zombies as the main performers, wire was wrapped around their bodies, one to the left and one to the right. As the wire tightened, the hand grenade pins were pulled, and a huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky, destroying everything around and spawning a massive horde of zombies. Rick failed to escape in time and found himself surrounded by zombies. In this moment, the protagonist's aura illuminated the land. With only one hand remaining, Rick managed to hold off a dozen zombies without getting bitten. Forced into a corner, Rick reached behind a zombie and pulled the hand grenade from its body, using it as a shield to absorb the explosion's impact. This maneuver, although surreal, successfully cleared the zombies, and Rick embraced Michonne as if nothing had happened. While the duo seemed invincible together, they couldn't withstand the onslaught of tens of thousands of zombies. They could only survive by climbing to higher ground. Michonne, with her intact limbs, began to climb first, while Rick cleared obstacles below. Once Michonne reached the top of a container, she quickly pulled Rick up. The two found temporary safety while being surrounded by countless zombies emitting terrifying roars. Just tens of minutes ago, Rick returned to the CRM organization, having barely escaped from there. Now he found himself compelled to return, with the sole purpose of destroying the data left behind by Jadis to ensure the safety of everything he cherished. This forced him to lie to Thorn, fabricating a story of survival. Rick deceived everyone, including Thorn. Surprisingly, Thorn, who hadn't been seen for a long time, had already dismissed Okafor's legacy as worthless, proving how power and truth could indeed change a person. Rick feigned compliance, completely dispelling any suspicion. This enabled Rick to meet General Bill, who engaged him in a profound conversation. General Bill held Rick in high regard and believed he had the potential to become the leader of the military for the next 10 years. At this moment, Rick also learned about the CRM Army's next move. They would strike another massive human community in Portland, completely annihilating it for resources. In 18 hours, the CRM organization would become the most powerful entity in the world. Simultaneously, when Portland fell, General Bill and his allies would abolish the CRM City Council to gain control of the entire city. Once these objectives were achieved, the CRM Army, led by General Bill, would launch nationwide attacks, targeting all human communities to eliminate competition, seize resources, and establish dominance. This was General Bill's vision for a better world, rebuilt from the ruins of destruction, ensuring humanity's longevity. Undoubtedly, General Bill's plan clashed with Rick's principles. Although General Bill allowed Rick to take his family and friends back home, promising them tight protection, it couldn't alleviate Rick's rising urge to kill. In the next moment, a flying knife pierced General Bill's chest. The confrontation between Rick and General Bill transcended mere combat. It was a clash of ideologies. The aged General Bill was no match for Rick and ended up being stuffed into a suitcase. What Rick didn't anticipate was that the seal of the suitcase wasn't very good, and blood leaked out, alerting the accompanying soldiers. Rick had no choice but to resort to violence, pounding them with his fists one after another. While Rick dealt with the soldiers, Michonne arrived just in time. She had already been to Jadis's room and destroyed the data left behind by her. Interestingly, despite intending to leave according to plan, she also learned about the army's plan for destruction. Facing such cruel and anti-human actions about to unfold before her, Michonne couldn't stand idly by. After consulting with Rick, they decided to completely dismantle this plan, and their method was straightforward: ignite the entire explosives depot. They strung the hand grenades together with wire and fixed them separately, then used the movements of 2 zombies to act as a delay mechanism, providing ample time to escape. These 2 zombies were Bill and a soldier who had died earlier. As they moved, the wire would gradually straighten, pulling the hand grenades and detonating the entire explosives depot. However, just as Rick and Michonne prepared to leave, Thorn blocked their path. To keep Thorn at bay, they had to pretend to cooperate. Unaware that Bill was dead, Thorn still held hope for Rick, expecting him to return to the right path. When Bill appeared, Thorn was dumbfounded. Rick and Michonne seized the opportunity to rush towards the nearby water tank. Michonne opened the water tank while Rick covered himself with cloth. A mushroom cloud rose into the sky, destroying everything around and giving rise to countless zombies. Rick and Michonne had originally planned to hide until the smoke cleared on the road, but Thorn also survived the explosion and was actively searching for them. In such a situation, they had no choice but to take action. Only by killing Thorn could they survive. Rick gave his only gas mask to Michonne. With his left hand gone, he couldn't kill Thorn himself. It had to be Michonne. Rick covered his mouth and nose with a corpse mask, engaging Thorn first to create an opportunity for Michonne to strike. However, unexpectedly, he found himself surrounded by zombies during the struggle. Meanwhile, Michonne seized the moment and struck Thorn with her sword, fatally piercing his vital organs. Thorn was doomed. Michonne hadn't yet recovered from the fight when an explosion erupted nearby. Rick, to break through the encirclement, detonated a hand grenade, using the nearest zombie as a meat shield. It was this action that saved Rick's life amidst the explosion. Seeing Rick alive, Michonne hugged him tightly. Before dying, Throne had given her mask to Rick, hoping that everything Bill had done was wrong. Only then would Rick and his group not face a darker future. Rick and Michonne managed to survive the zombie encirclement by climbing to a high place. The atrocities of the CRM city against Bill and his army served as the final judgment. It was a severe crime against humanity. The council voted to supervise the remaining military forces, and adjustments would be made to the internal structure of the military to prevent further mistakes. The Chen family also changed their previous policies, allowing citizens to leave freely and welcoming new citizens at any time. Under the escort of the military aircraft, Rick and Michonne returned to their families. Everything was so beautiful and perfect, even if the future might be dark. Humanity would surely overcome everything with love, because love is eternal, irreplaceable, and unbeatable.